All right, take two. If you were on my live a little while ago, I apologize. I had major technical problems, internet crash of some sort. And so I scrapped that whole live I just did, and now I'm doing it again. Um, so apologies. But anyway, let's jump right into the Redfin live update for this week. Um, I'm gonna run through it just like I did before, but big changes in the market overall. And so every single week, Redfin will put out this update for us, usually on Thursday morning, and then we cover it live, usually on Thursday afternoon, to give you the latest housing market data and tell you, hey, what's happening in the housing market. Helps you put your finger on, you know, maybe making a decision to buy, sell, or invest in a certain area. And so what we do is we do a few things. We'll go through the Redfin article, the latest update. We look at the leading indicators overall nationally. Then we look at metros that are increasing and decreasing the most in the United States. Then we also, at the end, we look at metro specific data. So I go into metros that you request. So if you have a metro you want me to analyze for housing market data, comment now or on the replay, and then I'll get to it on the next live. Or if you do comment today, I'll take the time to do it live today. So, for instance, we'll look national. We're going to look at Columbus, Ohio, because that's where I am as a realtor and investor. Is right outside of Columbus. We're going to look at Pittsburgh and the Punxsutawney area of uh, of Pennsylvania. We're going to look at Detroit, Boise, Jacksonville, Florida, Houston, San Diego. I think that's it. I think those are my metros. So I'm going to look at those metros as well. And then at the end, towards the end of the video, I'm going to show you a Redfin stat and a Redfin data point that they don't publish. It's something that I found behind the scenes that explains a lot. I think it helps us understand the story of the active listings in the United States. So, what's happening in the housing market? Well, overall, um, we have for the first time in 9 weeks, we have a decrease in the median sales price. Right, you heard me right. Median sales price, we have a decrease of $1,000 in the median sales price. We also have pending sales down at their lowest level in several months. Uh, Pending sales are just in the dirt, so not a lot of transactions happening. And then you also have at the same time, you have new listings are kind of starting to stagnate. So you have more, listings, or I'm sorry, new listings aren't increasing as much as they were, earlier in the year. We don't have like a trajectory straight up of new listings. And then mortgage rates were down underneath 7% for the first time in a while. And the question is, will that start to spur more activity, or will it simply, are we, our house is just still not affordable? But whatever happens, or whatever we go through today, I'm excited you're with me. I appreciate your time and attention. And please comment below. Let me know what's happening in your neck of the woods. Are you seeing houses sit, or are they moving quick? What's going on? All right. So let's go right to the Redfin info right now. All right. So I'll just read the top headline and then we'll jump into the article, but I'm not going to read it word for word. Don't worry about that. Typical monthly housing payment drops to $115 below record high as mortgage rates decline, but house hunters are still waiting on the sidelines. So, yeah, a lot of house hunters are like, you know what? I'm not going to uh, buy right now. I'm probably going to wait. Maybe interest rates and prices may drop some. It's possible, right? So I highlighted a few areas of the article I thought were really telling. The biggest ones are new listings up 6.5% year over year, 6.4%. That's not enough to get us where we need an inventory. Pending sales are down 5.6% year over year. That's the biggest decline in 8 months. Mortgage purchase applications are down 3% week over week. And that's despite mortgage rates falling underneath 7%. But it's not like mortgage rates fall underneath 7% and then like the very next day, pending sales increase. That's not how it works, or mortgage applications increase. It takes a little while for the data to work through the system. You can see here some buyers are sitting on the sidelines because they're hoping mortgage rates will decline. Can't fault them for that strategy. Another reason for slow demand is the extreme heat. You tell me what you think about this. Well, does extreme heat and cold keep you from looking at houses if you really want to buy a house? Or do you care what the weather? You don't even care what the weather's like when you're looking at houses. Personally, me, I don't let weather stop me from looking at properties. That's nuts. Like, who cares what the weather's like? You know? But this person in this agent in Tennessee says severe heat waves are making people feel pretty much locked in their houses. They don't want to come out to see homes because it's miserable outside. Open houses haven't been getting much traffic. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go through the leading indicators now. This is all the basically they look at a top level view of the key indicators that financially. So they're looking at daily average fixed mortgage rate 6.83%. We talked about that already. We know it's low or lower than it has been recently. Lowest level since February. So that should spark some demand, you'd think, right? Weekly average fixed mortgage rate 6.89. Mortgage purchase applications decreased 3% from a week earlier, so not as many people actually putting mortgage applications in. Redfin homebuyer demand index is only up 3% from a month earlier, down 15% year over year. Touring activity up 26% from the start of the year. But that doesn't help because every year it's going to be up in the spring or summer versus January. Doesn't tell us much. And Google searches for home are up 4% from a month earlier. But it's down 20% year over year. All right, key housing market data points. This is from the top 400 US metros only, not all metros, just top 400 metros. So for the 4 weeks ending July 14th, 2024, median sales price down $1,000 compared to last week, but it's at $396,379. That's an increase of 4.4% year over year. The weird thing is, and I emailed Redfin earlier today about this when I looked at this, they say just about $100 shy of last week's all-time high. Well, that's not true. If you look at last week, the difference is actually $1,000, like $1,100. So Redfin, I don't think they calculated that right. I emailed them and asked. We'll see what they say. Median asking price, $404,000. That's up 5.2% year over year. You're going to see, though, that's starting to fall. So the median price that people are asking for if you take all the houses that are listed, this is a better way to say it. If you take all the houses that are listed for a period of time for these 4 weeks and look at the house in the middle, that's what the median is. That is starting to moderate. You're not seeing that go up substantially. Median monthly mortgage payment, $2,700. Obviously, higher compared to the last few years, much higher. Pending sales, 81,000 units, 5.6% decrease year over year in pending sales. That's the biggest decline in 8 months. New listings, 93,000 new listings hit the market in the 4 weeks analyzed. That's a 6.4% increase year over year. New listings obviously are higher than pending sales. And when that happens, you're probably going to see more inventory added to the system. Now we're almost at 1 million active listings, 977,000 active listings. But that's the smallest increase in 3 months. So when you think about it from like a increase standpoint, we're not adding as much inventory as we have been recently. We're just not. New listings aren't as impressive, and active listings are starting to suffer because of that. Months of supply, 3.6 months of supply. Months of supply is simply how many houses do you currently have for sale and available divided by how the monthly average of homes sold in that same area. So if you have 100 homes available to purchase and you're averaging 50 houses a month over the last 12 months sold homes, then that's a 2 month of supply. If you are averaging 25 houses sold per month, then that's and 100 homes available, that's a 4 month of supply. So it's just a division thing, right? And so that's up 0.7 points, meaning this time last year was probably 2.9 months of supply. I'm sorry, 2.7 months of supply. Now it's 3.6 months of supply. So a difference of, no, I said that wrong. Sorry. 2.9 months of supply. Now it's 3.6 months of supply. So a difference of 0.7 points. 4 to 5 months is considered balanced. Yeah, that's most people think that, right? 4 to 5 months balanced. I call it 5 to 7 months of supply is a buyer's market. 7+ months of supply is a strong buyer's market. If you're under, when you think about a seller's market, anything under 2 months of supply is a strong seller's market. That's what I call it. And then once you get past 2 months of supply and between 2 and 4 months, that's a seller's market. Then you get to 4 months and that's balanced. Share of homes off the market in 2 weeks or less, 39.1. That's down from 44%. So homes aren't moving as fast. They're sitting a lot longer. And we know that because median days on market now is 32 days on market. That's up 4 days year over year. So homes aren't selling as fast. They're sitting on the market longer. Comment below. Why is that? Why do you think homes are sitting longer? Are they sitting longer where you are? They're not where I am. I mean, it's a small increase days on market, but it's not like exponential increases. Share of homes sold above list price, 36.6%, down from 36%. So homes in general, when you look at how many homes are sold, there's less of them that are selling above final list price. Share of homes with a price drop, 6.7. That's up 1.8 points. Highest level on record. It's the highest level on record of homes with an actual price drop, people cutting their price. I'm going to show you again at the end of the video, towards the end. I'm going to share with you one of the reasons why I think you're seeing this number continue to increase. Average sale to list price ratio, 99.5%. That's 0.5 points. That's an increase of 0.5 points. So people are no longer on average getting over 100% of asking price, of list price. Remember though, this is list price ratio when the house sells, not original list price. So if I say, all right, I'm going to list my home at $100,000 and I don't get any takers, nobody's coming. And so I'm like, all right, I got to drop my price. So I drop it to 95,000. And then somebody comes in and says, all right, I'll give you $95,000. Well, that's 100% of my list price, but it's only 95% of my original list price. So those metrics are much different. So you have to remember that and consider it. All right, now what they're going to do is they're going to review the top 50 most populous metros throughout the United States and look at where things are increasing and decreasing the most. Then when we're done with this part, we'll look at the charts they go over. They have some national charts that we'll review. And then we'll jump into the metro level deep dives on some of these cities that you wanted me to review. So we've got Detroit, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, Providence, Rhode Island, and New Brunswick, New Jersey for median sales price all had the largest year-over-year increases. Metros with the biggest year-over-year decrease, just 2 out of 50. So 48 of the top 50 metros. Think about this. 48 of the top 50 metros had an increase year-over-year in median sales price. Pending sales. That's when a home goes into contract, right? So these are the areas where pending sales are in San Jose, San Francisco, Boston, Newark, New Jersey, and Cincinnati, Nasty Natty, Ohio, where pending sales are decreasing the most. Houston, West Palm Beach, Minneapolis, Virginia Beach, Atlanta. Increased in 7 metros. So pending sales are saying out of the top 50, increased in just 7 metros. So, pending sales falling in 43 of the top 50 would signal that inventory's building in a lot of those metros, probably, right? Because pending sales is down and it's been so poor lately over the last few years that a decrease is even worse. New listings, homes hitting the market as new listings. You've got San Jose, Las Vegas, Miami, Jacksonville, Florida, and Seattle. We're going to look at Jacksonville more in depth here in a minute. So that's where we're adding the most listings to the market, right? More new listings will certainly help buyers as long as they're not gobbled up because of sales or they're not pulled off the market. Atlanta, Houston, Warren, Michigan, Detroit, and Minneapolis all saw the biggest decrease in new listings. So when you think about it, you're in a market where new listings have been really bad over the past few years, and now you're down in new listings. That's going to make it even worse. I mean, it declined, they're saying, in 8 metros, right? So 8 of the top 50 metros saw a decline in new listings. Not an increase, a decline. All right, now we'll get to these charts. All right, so median sales price. Yeah, like there are people who I watch on YouTube who predicted that median sales price would be like down here, like way down here, like so far down you're not going to see it. Some of them are predicting that it'll go down to year over year decrease by 12%. I think that's Melody Wright's call. I enjoy watching her. She has a great perspective, a different perspective than I have, but she predicted a drop, I think, of 12% year over year in home prices. So we're up 4% now. We'd have to drop, 16, 17% in home prices. So tell me what you think are going to drop 17%. Maybe they will. Be catastrophic. It'd be good if you're a buyer. But man, that'd be a big. Anyway, right now, it seems like it may be leveling off somewhat, but are $1,000 less than last week, 4.5% year over year. At the beginning of the year, I called that I thought it would be up 4 to 5% by the end of the year. That's where we'd end up. So we'll see if I'm right, but that's where I thought it would end up. Median asking price, what people are asking for their house, that's actually starting to drop somewhat, right? Over the past few months, you can see that dropping. So maybe a factor of people just not listing expensive homes, or maybe, if agents are doing their job, right? If real estate agents are doing their job, they hopefully they are guiding their clients. You have to price the house so it moves. The goal is to sell the house, right? However, I will say there are people with wish pricing, wish listings where, and this happens to me all the time. People will, talk to you about listing their home, and you start to sense that maybe they're over their skis with the price. Like, my neighbor sold for 400 grand. I'm going to list it 4.25. Yeah, but your house is smaller. So what? I think we'll get it. The market's great. And as an agent, you're not the one pricing the house. Your client is really in charge of the deal and pricing of their house. You're just guiding them. And so you show them the comps, you show them what's sold recently, but a lot of people, I think a lot of sellers still have it in their head that, they can charge whatever, list it for whatever. There are areas, by the way, and certain houses where that is true. You are still getting way over asking and multiple offers. That does happen still. But median asking price moderating somewhat. Home buyer housing payments, we know that's ridiculous. Pending sales, down percent. Look at this. It never really underneath. I guess I'm sorry, did it 3 at all? But not really. It's still poor. Just not a lot of movement in pending sales. New listings of homes up 6%. That's just not going to cut it, folks. Got to have a lot more than that to cause some type listings of homes for sale up 18% year over year, but same story, right? Still like 31. Lance Lambert's latest data, I think we're 31% below pre-pandemic levels still. Sounds all fun and good, but it's not going to help as much as people think it would. Already in. All right. 3.6 months of supply. This metric is very much. 2 videos. You should check them out on my channel about months of supply. I took a lot of time to research, historical months of supply, and then I take you through how to calculate in your local market using Zillow. It's pretty, but 3.6 months supply. It's definitely up to last year, but again, it depends where that supply is sitting. If it's sitting in houses nobody wants, or are overpriced anyway, or are wish pricing houses, and the 3.6 of supply isn't really impressive. So we're headed towards a balanced market. You tell me, do you think it's a balanced market where you are? It's not balanced where I am, but maybe there are markets where it's balanced, or it's heading to balanced. We'll look at in a second. There are metros where months of supply is like a buyer's market. Jacksonville, Florida is a buyer's market. I think it's now at like 6 months of supply. So there are areas where it's a buyer's market. 39% of pending sales under contract within 2 weeks. So people aren't running out, and the first look at, they're like, I'm making an offer as they were before. What I'm hearing anymore is like, I would have buyers, we want to offer in on that house. And I would say, well, you haven't looked at it yet. It's like right down the street, right? It's not like it's in a different city. It's like right down the street. I'm like, you haven't looked at it yet. And they're like, yeah, but we know we'll like it. The pictures look good. Can we put an offer in? So it's like, well, you can, but why not go look at it, right? So now at least, hopefully, there's some time to look at property. That's a good thing. You want time. Homes sold in 32 days. So it's taking longer to sell homes. That's good. We want some time to make decisions, look at options. Even as a seller, it may sound like it's fun to like get multiple offers on the first day, but I don't know. It's also like, it's just a feeding frenzy. To me, it's better just to have a solid, even market. 32 sold above final list price. People aren't overpaying, hopefully, for homes as much as they were before. But they are still in certain pockets paying more than list. 6.7% of listings had price drops. So more sellers are dropping their price compared to last year. And this is continuing to go up. Average home sold for 99.5% of final list price. As you can see, that's way down compared to last year and the 2 years before that, where it was like 100%. When we peaked at like, look at this, 102.5. Small movements here are big, right? So a half a point movement is big. And so you can see we peaked in 2022 at 102.5% approximately. Wow. I'm glad that's over. Redfin Homebuyer Demand Index. This is that algorithm they use to calculate homebuyer demand. However you want to calculate it, it's bad. It's bad. Higher interest rates, higher prices, right? Threat of a recession, all that jazz. People are maybe a little spooked about the housing market. You can see that. All right. So now let's go to the metro level data. And I'm going to start with Columbus, Ohio, because that's where I am. I always do Columbus first. All right, let's do Columbus. So, CBus, Ohio. And by the way, if you have a metro you want me to analyze, comment below. Even if you're watching this on the recording, comment below. Tell me what you want to do or where you want me to analyze, the city, the county, whatever. And I'll do it on the next live. So most of these metros are suggestions from you. And I appreciate your suggestions because I forget about areas, right? So Columbus, Ohio is for new listings. We are slightly up 4.5%. Not great. year over year. And you can see new listings never really impressed this year. It never came up. So it was, you know, a rapid increase. People were just locked in. I just had a meeting with somebody this morning, a seller who said basically they decided, I'm not going to sell right now because of my low rate. And when I go to my next house, it's going to be super expensive because home prices have gone up so much here. And I couldn't blame them. I'm like, why would you sell? I'd keep it, rent it if you have to. If you want to move somewhere, at least keep it and rent the thing. You got a 3% mortgage. What are you doing? Right. But some people are like, nope, I got to move. But in general, I think it's keeping new listings suppressed because people don't want to give up what they already have. It makes sense. All right, let's do active listing. So active listings in Columbus up 15% year over year, but still down compared to 22 and 21. And it's just not near enough. We just don't have it near enough of supply, of good supply, especially. Let's look at months of supply in Columbus. We are 10.7 weeks, which is just over 2 months of supply. And that's basically a buyer's market. Almost a seller's market. Almost a strong seller's market. So it's definitely a seller's market in Columbus. We got Intel coming in, building like $100 billion factory, a gigafactory, Death Star. It literally like reminds me of the Death Star when you drive out there. It's 10 minutes from me now, and you're talking about land that was just farmland for most of my life, and now it's like chaos. They're like the dark side came in and set up a gigafactory. It's good for manufacturing. I get all that, and a lot of it's from the CHIPS Act, but it's kind of sad to see the farmland torn down. Anyway, a lot of people moving into the area. Not surprised. Week of supply or months of supply is not good here. Not a problem. All right, let's jump to median sales price. 353,000. That's only an increase of 3%. Locals are completely priced out of the market. I think this is just the calm before the storm. Regardless of what happens throughout the country, housing, I think here in Central Ohio, we're going to continue to see increases overall throughout the next few years in home values because of the lack of new builds that we've had in the last decade. There's just not a lot of new building here. And a lot of the inventory is old. And a lot of it's rural. So you're not talking about big subdivisions. It's like one house here, and then a mile down the road, there's a house. So there's just not a lot of inventory. But nonetheless, we started back all the way back at $315,000. $315,000, and now we're at $353,000. So the median price in Columbus went from $315,000 to $353,000 this year. Locals are just priced out. It's crazy. All right, let's do the next metro here. What do we got? Oh, let's do Pittsburgh. Somebody at Pittsburgh, the neighboring state. Median sales price surprised me, $259,000. It started back at $213,000, and now it's up to $259,000. Man, up 7% year over year, and it's like, whoop, straight up. So I'd love to know from the person, I don't remember their name, who asked for Pittsburgh, but what you're seeing in that market. Like, are you trying to buy a house and you're like, man, I can't find anything? Or are you seeing prices drop in your neighborhood? But it looks like they keep going up. All right, let's look at new listings for Pittsburgh. %, increase year over year for new listings. So they are adding new listings, no doubt, but probably not near enough like they need to. Let's look at active listings. Wow. Active listings are actually down 1.74% year over year. So a lot of people think active listings are just skyrocketing all over the place, but they're obviously not. So new listings, active listings, active inventory in Pittsburgh down 1% year over year. This is a 4-year low of active listings. All right, let's look at median days on market. This surprised me too. 44 days, a lot longer than national, but it's not long for Pittsburgh. Houses must take a long time there to sell. I don't know. That's the only thing I can conclude because every year it's the same, but it's down 4 days. Your houses actually are selling faster than they were the last few years, which is nutty. Most areas it's taking longer. Real estate is hyper local. All right, let's do months of supply in Pittsburgh. Weeks of supply 14, which is what, just over 3 months of supply, but it's a little elevated compared to last year, but not much. Not like it skyrocketing at all. Seems like a really tight market, a really, really tight market in Pittsburgh. All right, so the same person asked for Punxsutawney, but Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania isn't available in the report, in their data. So I had to go to, oops, level. So that's what I'm doing. So Jefferson County, PA, which is basically Punxsutawney. It's not Puxatawney, it's Punxsutawney. I think I'm saying it right. You know, the Groundhog guy, where he, that's a great movie, by the way, Groundhog Day. Chart's nutty, right? So let's just take off some years to make it a little more easy to read. This data is a little, though, because there's such little, there's not a lot of in this county. So the charts all over the place, but let's just look at a couple categories. Let's look at median sales price. So for Jefferson County, PA, we're at $170,000. They started the year at 136, but almost $40,000 in value or in median sales price, I suppose. All right, let's look at new listings in Punxsutawney. This is, and I was like, what? What is this? 3 days. I'm sorry, 3 new listings. So that doesn't make any sense. You only had 3 new listings. That can't be right, right? That's crazy. In 4 weeks. Active listings 32. Maybe that's right. Could be if there's not a whole lot going on. I love these little tiny local markets, though. They're fun to look at. Year over year, down 3%. So just not a lot of inventory, I suppose. Let's look at months of supply. What's that show? Okay, this is just completely goofy. 27 weeks of supply. That's up 4.2 weeks of supply. So that's like almost 7. Yeah, it's almost 7 months of supply. Not sure that data is right with Jefferson County. Maybe the data is corrupted from Redfin, right? I don't know. That's strange. Maybe that didn't help very much. Hopefully Pittsburgh helped, but the Jefferson County one, I would definitely check with the local realtor. I'll make a note of this and I will analyze Jefferson County with realtor.com data, which tends to be a little bit more robust. They update it every week. They update it once a month, but I'm going to do a live coming up in the next few days, the data from realtor.com, and I'll look at Jefferson County to see if we can get a different picture. But thank you for suggesting it. All right, let's do Detroit. So now we're going to go to Detroit. I got to go back to the metros. Now I'm going to do Detroit. Detroit, Michigan. Let me bring in the other years and see what this says. 12 weeks of supply, which is about 3 months. So are still a seller's market there, no doubt. Elevated compared to the last few years, but not insanely elevated. Let's look at new listings. New listings. Wow. Down 4.5%. So this is like different than a lot of other areas where we've seen new listings up. I mean, nationally, up 6.5. Some areas up a lot more than that, but Detroit, Michigan, down with new listings. So you have new listings, less people listing their homes for sale. Active listings in Detroit, down 2.76%. So, I mean, that again, very hyper local what real estate does, but and this is hard for me. Maybe I'll take a trip up to find out what's going on. But like a lot less new listings and a lot less active listings. All right, let's do median market. Median days on market, 14 days. It only takes 14 days to get a property in contract in Detroit. Columbus was 32, 34. Nationally, it's 32. So, man, stuff moves fast in Detroit. Year over year, it's actually up just 1 day. Now, let's do pending sales. I'm curious on that. Pending sales are down 8% year over year, but that's not a surprise because new listings are down, active listings are down. You have those two things down, there's not enough inventory to spur kind of activity, right? So pending sales are going to suffer. Now, really curious what's happening with median sales price. Wow, look at that. $210,000. Detroit started the year at $164,000. And now it's 210,000. And this looks like an all-time high by far. Right? The other all-time high was probably like right here, 205,000 back in June. Now they're at now in July. I'm sorry, June of 2022. I should have said that. Yeah, June of 2022 at 205,000. Now they're at 210,000. So this doesn't look like it's slowing down. It's gone like up steadily this year, pretty much. Huh. That's Detroit. That's what's happening there. All right, Boise, Idaho. I hear a lot of people talk about Boise, that it's like the epicenter of the crash, that um, there's tons of inventory hitting the market. Now, I like to do median sales price last as like like a finale. New listings in Boise City, Idaho, down 14%. Is Boise City the same as Boise? This is a stupid question, but yeah, it's the only one on here. All right, so I'm shocked at this information. Down 14%. Boise, Idaho, new listings down 14. Not up, not skyrocketing upwards, down 14%. Goodness gracious. Active inventory, active listings, 10%. You only down 10%. Boise, Idaho has 10% less active listings than last year. And look at it compared to the other years. So this is a 4-year low of active listings, of active inventory. It's hard when you have less active months of supply. Where's that? 10.5 weeks of supply. Yeah, you're just over. Yeah, you're right at what? 2.5 months of supply, and it's not skyrocketing upwards. So homes are moving there. Let's find out if how pending sales are. Pending sales down 1.8% year over year. Not surprising. It's stagnant. Can't go a lot. You can't go down a lot. You can't go up a lot. Why? Because you don't have a whole lot of inventory. Wow, look at this in 2022. It was up 319% year over year, and then dropped down like the next week to 24% year over year. Like, I wonder what happened there. Then at the end of the year, look at this. Is there something that happens like at the end of the year? Look at that. Well, it's just really that one. I guess it's to the end of 21 and the beginning of 22. That's a strange looking chart. Okay. Now let's do median sales price. People say it's crashing. We're going to find out. But is Boise crashing? Is Boise, Idaho crashing? Inquiring minds want to know. $497,000. That's up 1% year over year. We started the year at $457,000, and now we're at $497,000. I think what people were referring to with the crash is this. Back in 2022, they were at 546,000. That looks like the peak. So, I mean, you are 546, 497. You're like $50 under the median price is $50,000 under the peak of 2022. So is that a crash? I mean, that's like 10%, right? No, I don't think it's a crash, but it's definitely a drop. Maybe it's a correction, right? But it doesn't look like it's going to crash when there's no inventory. Hard to do that. Okay, so that's median sales price, Boise City, Idaho. Let's do next. Let's do Houston, Texas. Yeah. Houston, Texas. New listings down 6%. Can't believe it. New listings are actually down 6% in Houston. I would have thought they were skyrocketing upwards based on what I hear from others on YouTube. I just would think it was up. I would think we'd be up like 20%. All right, let's look at active listings. Year-over-year active listings up an astonishing 20%. It's starting to level off and go down now. That's no surprise when new listings are the way they are. Let's look at pending sales. Geez, look at pending sales. 24% year over year. That's dropped straight down. But it's because there's not a lot of active stuff. New listings are down. Property are stale, and of course, you did just have a hurricane, right? Duh. So it's probably one of the down so much. That'd probably have something to do with it. People actually in real estate when they're worried about their, surviving. That's definitely down. Let's look at month of supply. Months of supply is straight up, not surprising because pending sales are in the total. We're like, what's that rate? 5 months of supply. Actually headed to a buyer's market. Unless, let me go back to new listings because we talked about the hurricane, right? But let's look at new listings to see if, okay, so it dropped. So for the 4 weeks ending early July, dropped, but very impressive. I would think this low amount of new listings lately will catch up to months of supply and decrease it eventually. But it's not near as bad as I thought it was. I thought I would see like active inventory like skyrocketing off the planet, but it's really not. Okay. All right. That's not what I expected out of Houston, but no crash there, it looks like. All right, let's do Jacksonville. Oh, you know what? Did I do San Diego? Ooh, San Diego. Let's do San Diego next. New listings in 12% increase year. So they definitely have more new listings, but not. But it's not like it's skyrocketing. Again, it's kind of starting to go down now. But San Diego definitely needs some new listings because it's been a pretty tight market there over the last year. Active listings in San Diego up 42% year over year, but that's down a lot compared to 22. And now it's starting to head down. Again, I would bet you just need a lot more active listings to moderate prices. Months of supply. What's that look like? 10 weeks of supply. Holy Toledo. So that's not even 3 months of supply. You're like what's that? A little over 2.5 months of supply, which is definitely a seller's market. Definitely a seller's market there still, no doubt. All right, let's do median days on market. 18 days. Wow, homes are selling fast there. Not as fast as previous years, but compared to the national average, 18 days isn't a lot of time. It's going up though. More time for buyers is good, right? And now median sale price. 7% increase year over year, $931,000, $842,000. And now it's 931,000. So it's clear that, San Diego's prices, they've gone up through this year, but will they start to crash? Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like they have enough inventory. They only got 2.5 months of supply. It's amazing how much inventory there has increased percentage wise. But when you look at the big picture, it's just like a drop in the bucket compared to what they actually need. All right. So that's San Diego. Now I'm doing Jacksonville. So I'm going to do Jacksonville, Florida, and then I'm going to show you that hidden Redfin data. New listings in Jacksonville, Florida. New listings are up 17%. That's a lot. I thought they'd be up more. I can't believe the new listings, though, in Jacksonville are actually down compared to 2022 and 2021. See what I mean? So 17% sounds great, but compared to where we were a few years ago, it's still down. Look at active listings in Jacksonville. Yeah, this is up a lot too. I mean, it's 42% up year over year. I wonder how it is compared to pre-pandemic. It's probably even. It could be even with pre-pandemic or near there. That's just a guess. But and now it's leveling off, so it's not skyrocketing anymore. All right, let's look at months of supply with Jacksonville. 21.8 weeks of supply, just over 5 months. So it is definitely a buyer's market, or should be a buyer's market there. Past balance is 4 to 5 months generally. Look at months of supply back in January, 28. So you were at 7 months of supply back in January, and now months. So if you keep adding a lot of new listings, Jacksonville, and pending sales sure are not impressive. Right, down 4%. If you continue that trend, if new listings continue to be added more than pending sales are, taking houses off the market, you're probably going to see an increase in months of supply, and therefore prices should come down. Now, let's look at that. Let's look at prices. Before we do that, let's look at median days on market. Median days on market. 56 days. Goodness gracious, 56 days. Almost 2 months. There's got to be some homes there that are not great, they're destroyed, need a ton of work, won't pass FHA. Maybe they're overpriced, maybe they're luxury homes. But man, 56 days median on market. That's a lot more than the other years. There's definitely some stale inventory. I'd love to know if somebody is on the watching this and they are from Jacksonville or from Florida, or they know somebody there. I'd love to know if homes are just sitting, rotting. All right. That is median days on market, median sales price. $383,000 flat. Look at that. It's like an apex of several years together in one. $383,000 flat from last year. Not crashing. Median sales price is not crashing. It's like it was, the last few years. It started off the beginning of the year at 365, and now you're at 383. So not crashing, but not increasing either. Maybe level off because there is back to the market. You can see that in the months of supply. So that's Jacksonville. Okay, I think I hit every city that was asked, and then I threw in a couple other ones. Okay, so those are the metro levels. Now look at this Redfin data. This is pretty cool. Let me just go to this. All right. So in the wrong tab. All right. So this is the weekly data we just looked at, but if you go down here in the data center and you go down to this the bottom section of the charts, you can see it says choose a format to download. So if you actually click this and look at the data, so there's different selections to download, but to me, this has been the easiest. Is you click data, now it actually shows you data that is not, that Redfin never presents. So I have, there's all this data on the right hand side, if you guys can see that, all this data sitting there that we can look at. I mean, there's all kinds of metrics that they don't present normally. So as I was looking at that, what I was trying to find was expired listings. I was trying to find how many homes are actually coming off the market, not because they sell, but because they expire or canceled. So for instance, if that person that says, my neighbor listed at 400,000 and sold, I'm going to list at 425. And then after 6 months or 3 months, my listing contract runs out with the realtor and I go, oh, well, I guess I couldn't sell it. Man, I'm not willing to sell it for any less. It was kind of wish pricing, right? It was just like a test, like testing the water. Then I take it off the market. It becomes an expired listing that's delisted. So my thought was, and why I went out and searched for this was, you've got all these metros and areas where seemingly inventory is increasing or new listings are increasing and pending sales are kind of in the gutter. And you start, and then you have a lot of price drops. So you're wondering, why is the median sales price decreasing like that? And why over the last 9 weeks, median sales prices continue to increase? Well, maybe because a lot of people are putting their home on the market and then removing it from the market. Maybe they're renting it out. Maybe that's what they decided to do. But check this out. So through this data, this is what I found. I downloaded the delisted properties from Redfin, and then I put them in a chart. So I'm going to go to that chart right now. So I'm using Data Wrapper. This is really geeky stuff, so I apologize. Oops. So here in a second. All right, here it is. Sorry, guys. That took way longer than I thought it would. All right, so this is delisted homes. So homes removed from the market. So I was able to go into Data Wrapper Shout out to Lance Lambert. He uses Data Wrapper, so I started messing with it. It's free, by the way. And if you love data, it's an awesome way to present it. So you've got a year over year. You have two lines. You have homes that were delisted year over year, as far as percentage of increase or decrease. And then you have the number of homes actually delisted. Remember, delisted homes coming off the market, not selling, not selling. So back in 2021, January 2021, we had 9,760 homes delisted for 4 weeks ending on January 3rd. And that's what that 9.76 means. It's the number of homes in thousand. So then you go along and you can see there's not a lot of change, right? There's some spike. There's a spike in 2022. People took homes off the market more, right? 15,000 homes, 15,790 homes, right? But then keep going through 23 and into 24. And look in 24 what's been going on. Look at it go up, 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 and away. So now in July 14th of 2024, we have 21,000 delisted homes. And if you look at a year over year percentage basis, we actually were down 35% for delisted homes year over year in January. Down 35%, but now go to just last week and we're up year over year 110% increase versus last year at this time in delisted homes. And this is a major rise. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to look at this chart and go, what happened? So my theory is, and tell me what you think, maybe I'm nuts, but I think that there were just a lot of people putting their house on the market, hoping they get a price, and when they don't, they take it off the market. I mean, let's be honest, right? Like, I mean, the delisted homes, this to me isn't rocket science either. If you have to sell your property, if you're like, I'm busted, like I maybe I have a house that I think I can sell for 400, but I owe 375 on it or 350 because you have closing, you have selling costs and all that other jazz with it. So let's like say, okay, I owe 350. I can't make my mortgage payment because I've lost my job, or taxes are too expensive, or insurance is too expensive. So now I can't make my mortgage payment. My lender won't help me. So I have to sell. Well, if you have to sell, you're not going to delist your home. You're going to drop your price. So until it sells, right? I mean, like if it won't sell at 400, you're going to drop it to 390 or 380 or whatever. And eventually you'll sell it. It drops low enough. So it's like, well, if everybody just had to sell and were dropping their prices because they had to sell and were forced sellers, don't you think you would see less delisted homes? But in fact, you're seeing a lot more delisted homes, I think, because people in general are like, look, I've got to, I don't have to sell. I want to sell, but I don't have to. So I'm testing the waters. I'm going to put my house on the market, probably for more than I should. That causes price drops, right? Because people putting their house on the market for more than they probably should. And that turns into a delisted property because they're like, well, if I can't get this price, I'm just going to take it off. Anyway, that's what I think is going on, but I'd love to know what you think. So tell me, do you think homes are being delisted because of that? And do you think that's affecting the inventory levels and the months of supply? Because if you think about it, and you're in a market where, like nationally, we're almost at a balanced market, right? With 3.6 months of supply. So we're almost at a balanced market, but it doesn't feel balanced. And I'm guessing because a lot of that inventory is overpriced inventory. Now, last thing before I go, be really careful when you're listening to people, especially on YouTube, talk about more expensive homes versus less expensive homes selling. The reason why there are more expensive homes selling than less expensive homes is because there's less expensive homes available. It's not that people are looking at $200,000 houses and going, I don't want that house, I'm out of here. No, if a house is priced well and is move-in ready, it's still selling, generally speaking, if it's priced under the median, and it's selling fast. As an example, today I found out a house I'm trying to buy, or I'm trying to help a client buy, had 14 offers. This was 3 days ago. Has 14 offers in contract. We were going to put a backup offer in, but they already have 2 backup offers accepted. So they've got people waiting in the wings. And that home was priced well under the median, in great shape, in a great neighborhood, little ranch home, affordable home. That to me is like the hot spot and the sweet spot, and where it's always going to transact, or it'll transact for a long time. And I think, unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that look at the data and think, well, more expensive homes are selling than cheaper homes, than affordable homes, because people don't want affordable homes. But in reality, it's because they're not listed. There's no inventory. It's not because people are like, I want to buy a more expensive home, but not the cheaper home. That's not happening. At least in my opinion. Anyway, you tell me what you think. That's my Redfin live update for the week. Thanks for watching. I'm right at an hour. I appreciate your attention and your participation. Thank you. We'll see you on the next Redfin Live. I'm out.